You are very precariously here on top of many DVDs and Blu-rays and my Nintendo Switch case. I'm set up because I have a meeting in about 15 minutes with my company, the Yokohama branch. This is the first time I'll be seeing all of my co-workers, for lack of a better word. We're not really co-workers, we don't work together. But they're all in my company and they all teach high school in the area. I have a theory that I'm going to meet a lot of old white men who have lived here for 13 plus years. I only say that because I keep hearing about all of these teachers who are like, I've been here 15 years. I like moved to Yokohama and I've just been here 15 years. And I'm like, that is crazy, because everywhere else I've been, you meet teachers who have like, oh, I've been here like 3 years, 4 years max, right? But like, something about Yokohama, maybe because it's close to Tokyo and these people like got a job in high school and they loved it and they just like hoarded it. And I don't know how I got in, because I requested to teach at a high school and they told me no. They said that teachers are very jealously guarding their high school territories because it's easier. It's easier than elementary school, it's easier than junior high school. There's a lot of like freedom in high school and you get a lot more time off than any other teacher. So of course that's why I requested it. And the kids are older and you can kind of like chat with them more because their understanding of English is a lot better. But somehow I got thrown into the mix and now I'm gonna have a little online meeting with a bunch of old white men. Yay. Sorry, it's a touchy time, isn't it? Everything's wrong. Everything's wrong with the world, right? And there's just, it's so overwhelming. And I don't know what to do about it. I'm always like, I'm just one tiny little person who's probably done a lot of bad in the world, but never intentionally. I've never intentionally put myself out there and was like, I'm gonna do harm today. Maybe no one does think like that. Maybe the villains aren't actually thinking like that, but I think the villains that I'm thinking of are people in places of power who then think I'm going to abuse this power, or I'm gonna use this to my advantage and like damn everyone else, which is obviously a villain thing. That's what villains do. That's what we've been taught, right? That's what, I'm just gonna throw a random name out there. It has nothing to do with anything, but that's what J.K. Rowling wrote about, right? You know, these like bigots, and yet here we are in 2020. Everything's a mess. Nobody is safe. Hamilton's, Hamilton, right? Right? In times of like toughness, in times of dire, terrible things happening, I turn to my favorites. I turn to my comforts. I started reading Harry Potter during quarantine. That was a mistake. I started looking up some Hamilton things. I don't want to say that was a mistake. I don't think it was. Hamilton is a beautiful musical. But everything is problematic these days. And I'm not saying I'm not... But isn't it though? If you really think about it, isn't anything you do then problematic if it's not? I don't know, see, because I'm still learning about these things and I think I've probably been, I've probably been pretty problematic. Not, again, not intentionally, but what I've learned is intention doesn't matter. And that you should just take it and learn from it and do better. I think I've been stuck in my own little bubble for so long because I grew up poor. I grew up really poor with like a terrible family situation. My dad almost killed my mom, things like that. Watched from the staircase. It's fine. We're all alive. We're all moderately healthy. There was just so much going on in my little world. And anytime I told anyone the story about it, they'd freak out and they'd be like, what? What are you talking about? Is this a soap opera that you're talking about? I'm like, no, this is my actual real life. And so I thought, I've got it really bad and I'm not going to complain about it. It's just going to be what it is. And I just assumed everyone else had it really bad too. And I think, yeah, everyone goes through their own problems and you can't actually compare scars, right?
I'll show you mine if you show me yours first. Let's compare scars and I'll tell you whose is worse. No, don't do that. No scar comparing needed.
I thought that was such a great line when I was younger because I was like, my scars are real bad. Man, I was not a great kid. I'm surprised that I had so many friends. Now, I'm just a scared little mouse girl. I'm afraid no one likes me. I'm like retroactively reliving my high school years through mega insecurities, and it's fine. There's so much going on with the world and it's so upsetting, and I'm here making jokes and I'm scared that the jokes aren't good because perhaps I've said something and it's not a good something, and I don't know. I'm half Filipino. I thought that meant something somehow. It was like, yes, I am white. I grew up in America. I'm American. I'm also Filipino. So I was never one. I was never the other. I always walked the weird line in between being one thing and another and not really fitting in. But this is a discussion for another time. My halfness, my halfydom, or whatever. It's all so complicated. I don't even know who I am as a person. And now I feel like I have to figure out who the world is. Who's the world? What are you doing here? What are we doing in you? You have to find things for yourself and not just regurgitate what you heard from someone else. And that's really hard for me because I feel like that's how I get all my information about things in the world. And maybe that is a slow way to learn. I'm very gullible. I feel like I'll just believe anything I read. I feel like I'm already a 60-year-old woman believing everything that I read. I try to think critically. I tried not to do that. And of course I don't do it completely, but it's just like, if someone writes a convincing argument, I go, huh, yeah, that makes sense. And then I read something kind of with the opposite thought and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's just like, it's all about phrasing really. And then I'm like, who am I? What do I think? I don't know. I'm 27. I'm trying to figure that out right now. I wish I had started 10 years ago. I wish that I was a nice kid in high school. I think I was for the most part, but like, if I didn't like someone, man, was I mean to them? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of people in the world I don't like right now, but they are people, they are human, and maybe this is kind of like a nuanced take on the matter, and maybe that's not necessarily good, but everyone is a human and people make mistakes and perhaps they can change. I changed. I'm different. I don't know. When it's like so detached from you, you know, you see things in black and white, and that's not actually the way life is it? I don't know. It's upsetting and I'm gonna cry, and I can't because I have a meeting to go to, so I'm just gonna wrap this up now. I don't know what I'm doing with my life and it doesn't even matter anymore.